Welcome once again to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me today is Vasil Shevchenko, former Transportation Minister of the Ukraine. Vasil, it's a pleasure to have you on again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Beautiful. You know, I want to ask you a question. I saw, it was last night, I think it was, a question was asked to the President, Joe Biden, if he think that the Ukraine is ready for the F-16s. And he said, not quite as yet. And we heard the urgency over the years, well, not over the years, but over the months of having F-16s and certain advanced equipment into Ukraine. However, though, they are training Ukrainian pilots jointly with U.S. Pilots to being able to fly F-16s. What is your understanding about this recently development?
To be honest, I'd start my answer since that Ukraine has rising military depths in maybe 600 or 700% we had before the war, and it isn't enough. And we must understand that we have been waging war against Russia Federation since 2014. And they have taken decision to fight with us for attrition. And they want us to be weakened. And Ukraine forces managed to drive them away from different directions. And after that, if you remember, after their drafting campaign, they managed to involve in war against Ukraine 500,000 Russians. And this half million allocated at the occupied territory, at the maybe 16 or 17% Ukraine's territory, which have been occupied by Russians since 2014, including Peninsula Crimea. And I'd say that they are ready to use against us different type of weapon. You remember they were trying to threat us tactical nuclear weapons. Then they trying to bomb us 1.5 ton bombs, which they decided to use against civilians. For example, I'd say since the 1st of May, Ukraine have been shelled 11 times. It isn't Ukraine's army, it's all Ukraine. For example, every night key ones are waiting Russia's attack. As usual, they are starting their attacks after midnight, and it lasts a few hours. And we don't know if our air defense system managed to intercept them or not. And thanks our partners, thanks United States, and personally United States President Joseph Biden, we have really powerful Patriot system which managed to intercept their so-called hypersonic missiles. They were threatening this type of missiles all over the world, that they have a higher sophisticated weapon which can eliminate any points around the Earth. And it appeared that Ukrainians military with Patriot system, thanks partners from United States Army who teach them and managed to intercept from 6 launched missiles. Ukraine forces managed to intercept 6 missiles, and it means that they doesn't have this type of weapon. And you remember they were commenting many times about capturing Bakhmut, and now it happened. It initially it happened in the last May. In the last June, my friends, whose commander territorial defense squadron died at the battle line close to the Bakhmut, defending Bakhmut. And now Ukrainian forces are fighting for Bakhmut. And Ukraine forces managed to eliminate Russia troops which tried to surround Ukraine forces in Bakhmut. Now they were eliminated. Ukraine forces managed to retake about 20 square kilometers around Bakhmut, and now there are not any threats. And we know that all these Russia troops are there close to the Bakhmut. Most of the half million are killed or wounded, or military prison in Ukrainian military prisons, and now we are speaking about our counter-offensive operation, and Ukraine forces managed to form new military units, new brigades, thanks our partners from European Union who helped us, who were drilling Ukraine newly formed brigades to storm military forces which capture our Ukraine's territory, and we understand that if we manage to push to drive them to the borderline, we understand that Russia will not disappear, and if we have less casualties, it would allow us to have more stronger army to defense in the future and the nearest future. And now we know that higher sophisticated war is in Ukraine. We are using and against are being used cutting-edge military technologies, and it means that without military aircrafts, we are not able to use all technologies. For example, you can hear that Patriot system was partly damaged because of debris by Russia's missiles debris. And it means that we are continuing being under Russia's threat. And if we have military aircrafts, fighter jets, we will be able to wage war the same level with the Russia Federation, because we know that they have hundreds fighter jets, and they announced them 5th generation, and we are using only 4th generation Soviet era, and we are not able to prevent them, because for example, they are launching their missiles or bomb from Russia's territory from distance from 40 to 70 kilometers from Ukraine's border, and they are eliminating Ukrainian cities, villages, settlements, threatening Ukrainians, because we know why Russia's army would eliminate civilians. They want want to frighten us, and they want to demonstrate all countries that they are powerful. But at the battle line, Ukraine forces are driving them out from occupied territories. And because of it, if we have fighter jets and technologies connected with F-16 fighter jets, we will be able to save up our soldiers' lives. Because our soldiers and our army, it's only things we have to defend our country, to provide defending democracy around the world, and we are fighting against dictatorship, and we are fighting against autocracy, and it means that we are ready to fight, but we ask for help by planes. And you know that our leader have visited European countries, and he had long-term discussions with European partners who's ready to transfer Ukrainians F-16 fighter jets, because they are changing, they are member of NATO, and they are ready to receive new type of fighter jets, F-35, and they are ready to transmit it, to transfer it to Ukraine, and Ukraine is ready to use it, and is ready to be part of this European and world defending system, because we don't know how Putin will behave them after every victory. You know that he demanded Ukraine to surrender, and he demanded that we immediately must stop fighting against army. It's their type of behavior, and all we can say that we have managed to win time, and it allows us to pull ourselves together and to fight together. You can see that now Ukrainian president visited Arab countries meeting in Saudi Arabia, and had meeting with many leaders. All leaders are ready to support Ukraine, but we know that they are in deep relations with the Russia Federation concerning energy resources, concerning changing energy resources to weapon. And all people understood that Russia is using different type of energy resources just to provoking and to threatening their neighbors who depends on these resources. And now I'd say that meeting in Japan, in Hiroshima, means that Great Seven countries are disturbed Russia's behavior, and the main discussion at this meeting, it's energy independence, because Russia influence for oil markets, influence for electricity market, and gas, natural gas markets, and for example nuclear energy markets, because for example they have big representative office in United Nations, and they managed to capture Ukraine biggest in Europe nuclear power station. It has 6 blocks, and it's biggest and powerful station in Europe. And they have captured, and now we have evidence that they have committed tortures against nuclear station personnel and Ukraine military who were defending the stations. And because of it, we ask our friends to help us with this really important things with fighter jets.
Yes.
And I think yes.
I'm sorry. Well, sorry for crossing you. I want to ask this question though, because I understood that Germany has stepped up their support to the Ukraine. The U.S. Patriot missiles that have been provided also done a fantastic job to Putin's hypersonic missiles and taking them out. With that being said, all of Russia's weaknesses are being shown up. Now, they were noted before as this superior power and they run the world. But here's a situation where the best of the equipment is now getting taken out by U.S. Patriot missiles, right? The hypersonic missiles. Now, with that being said, and Putin find that he is now in a place of weakness, do you believe he may want to now take it to a new level where he use nuclear structures, weapons against the Ukraine? Do you think he may come to that level of just doing what he wish?
First of all, to build new type of missiles or new real hypersonic missiles, they must have serious potential. And they have exhausted in this sphere, because we know that all Soviet Union defense system was built in Ukraine. It's in current city Dnipro. And them after Ukraine independence, they copied this technology and tried to build new missiles, new carriers for nuclear weapon. And we know that this type of missiles could carry nuclear charge in different place. But now we can see that air defense systems can eliminate all this type of missiles. For example, Ukraine have demonstrated that it can intercept cruise missiles, different base from different base, and they hoped that they had so-called hypersonic missiles, which could be new carriers this nuclear weapon. But nuclear weapon doesn't explode during interception. It can explode only after it's after hit to soil and to surface. It means that they cannot carry their nuclear weapon in a case that they have it. But the same problem is in materials, because, for example, materials and technology have expired. And it doesn't work correctly, and it means that they need Western technology and Western materials, because we know that Russia has become a petrol station. Their state budget and gross domestic products is formed from selling natural materials. They are not selling any sophisticated technology. They cannot build telephone. They cannot build car. For example, after they for Russia were imposed sanctions, in the Russia started selling Chinese cars. They don't have biggest country, don't have their own ordinary car, and they haven't built any plane without Western technology. They demonstrated that they have technology to build their 204 passenger planes, but they haven't managed to build it because Western sanctions doesn't allow them to build its plane. And we know that they have stolen 500 planes. About 100 passenger planes were captured in airports in different countries and were turned back to companies who gave it for rent, and they are using Western technology. They are flying around Russia Federation and 22 countries. Only 22 countries can allow them to land, but we know that it's country which are not belong to developed countries, and it's country which are not able to cooperate with Russia Federation at the same level. It means that nearest future they will face with problem with these planes and will not have opportunity to fly around and around Russia Federation. They will look like, for example, Iran, which is using 30, 40, 50 years old Western planes to transport passengers. And I'd say that it's only start of their economical problems, and now they are holding level of waging war against Ukraine. They names it waging war against NATO countries.
Right.
In their media, you can hear that they are fighting with Americans, with Polacks, with Europeans, not with Ukrainians. And their propaganda persuade every Russian that they have to fight because they must defend Russia Federation, and Russians doesn't want to think about it because they got used to believe Russia's television and Russia's propaganda, and they continue sending to die their soldiers in Ukraine. But we know that they are 140 millions. They have reserves, and how long they will send their soldiers to Ukraine to die. No one knows, because Russia's leader is unpredictable and maybe have mental problems, because to have so much casualties for own countries can have only crazy person. But I have said that Western countries and democratic countries managed to hold ourselves together and to demonstrate him that democracy is united, and if we have different opinion, or any country has different opinion in different sphere, it doesn't mean that security isn't our priority. And I think that we will manage to defend our country, European country, and I hope after aircraft, fighter jets, we will have a new opportunity, and we manage to save our soldiers' life, to have opportunity to defend Ukraine at the borderline. And about it have spoken Ukraine president, who visited different countries, and before his journey he met with Chinese representative who commented strange opinion. Now we know that Russia president visited China on the eve of Olympic Games to consult about future offensive operation in Ukraine, and we think that they agreed it, and now they are interested in weakening Russia Federation to have cheap resources, natural resources, and territory, and they are interested in influence for Ukraine and Europe. And now it's challenge have been demonstrated, and we know that it's their attempt to demonstrate that they are for peace, but we know that peace, according to their opinion, it means that we must sign ceasefire or peace agreement.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
well,
yes.
So I'm crossing you, Vasil. We have come to the last 22 seconds. Well, you know, we will always continue to chat and keep update on what's going on in the Ukraine. We have come to the last few seconds of the program. So to all those who have been tuning in, I want to say thank you and have a nice day.